and how trauma and outer influences collide in art. And where dance and fashion collide, Dutch fashion designer Iris van Herpen and Belgian-French choreographer Damien Gillette engaged in a conversation starting with how dance influenced their artwork. They believe that artwork can be used as a means to cope or express trauma or one's inner struggles, and that true originality does not exist due to the shared influences with people and the culture around them. Frida Kahlo represents these claims because when Van Herpen said, "I don't believe pure originality exists. I think we're all programmed and shaped by our upbringings and by our culture, and by all the art that we see in our lives." In Frida Kahlo's self-portrait dedicated to Dr. Alosa in 1940, it is a completely original self-portrait that incorporates many elements and experiences that are shared by millions of Mexican women. She uses emphasis with her bright floral hair pieces with contrasting with a darker hued background. This is a small example of how true originality does not exist due to the shared influences and experiences of the world around them, because Frida Kahlo's culture is ingrained into her artwork with her flowy garments of clothing and bright floral hair that many other Mexican women must have seen or worn growing up. And the next piece of artwork by Frida Kahlo, The Two Fridas in 1939, it shows the two sides of herself, her half Mexican side and half European side. This proves Gillette's point when he said, when you create your art, you explore the little corners of yourself. You put some of your most intimate thoughts in it, and then you share it. And when you release that, it can be both exhilarating and traumatic. This artwork shows her inner turmoil of her two different cultures and how it feels as though she has two different sides of herself. She uses movement in her artwork with the two hearts beating together as one, and also uses symmetry by having two identical women sitting next to each other. Using symbolism, she shows her two different identities being connected together by one. This can show how one's inner turmoil and trauma influence art. Okay, so lastly, in Frida Kahlo's The Broken Column in 1944, talks of art is a representation of some of the turmoil and trauma that she had gone through after being in a life-threatening car crash that left her health in shambles. She presents herself standing tall and wishes to appear strong. However, her teary eyes and the broken column reveal the emotional hurt she was feeling. She uses line and emphasis with the brace encircling the body in the long shadowed column. And she also uses contrast between the muted color backgrounds and the bright white brace that makes it very difficult to overlook. This is an example of how using one's trauma to create art. Okay. Frida Kahlo's interest in self-expressionism allows her art to represent a spectrum of expressing one's trauma in similar life experiences. This further emphasizes Van Herpen's and Gillette's point that art can serve as a tool for addressing trauma or the internal battles one may face, and that genuine originality does not exist to the influence of people and culture in one's lives. Ultimately, art serves as the universal language that can speak to the shared human experiences, which is also originality, and the pain and trauma in one's life.
Thank you.
There's no last slide.
That's okay. 4.5. Oh yeah, there's no last slide. 4.5 minutes. Okay, so on time. And audience questions, comments, compliments. You can call on people, Maisie.
I really like all the artworks you picked, and I think they were really representative of what the article was talking about. And you did a really great job of explaining all of the little nuances that go with it, and like how all those will be connected to a original canon.
I really like how you time to like look up the stories behind each artwork and why she made them.
I really like how prepared you were. You're making me feel like I need to prepare more for tomorrow. And what made you choose like Frida Kahlo? Like,
the reason why I chose her was because like I was like trying to search artists. I just put into ChatGPT like what artists like kind of represent this, and Frida Kahlo, like I didn't recognize any of the names, and I was like okay, but then Frida Kahlo showed up, and I was like oh, I remember being really interested in her in middle school because I took an art class for some reason, and I just really liked her artwork then. So
cool.
What was the prompt that you gave ChatGPT?
What artists show trauma in art?
Trauma in art.
Yeah.
And you actually wove some pieces of Frida Kahlo's biography into the analysis of each piece because her pieces are very autobiographical. So I thought that was a really effective move that you made in your presentation.
I don't know how I did that, but then
You did. I mean, look, remember the car accident, right? Okay. Her being kind of between two cultures, and the beating heart. There's also, I like this image is striking too, just because of the open chest and open heart, the arteries that are connected. There's a grotesque, disturbing kind of quality to this. At the same time, it's beautiful. Right? It has a deep personal narrative. So that's part of what makes her artwork surreal. Right? Is that sort of grotesque, dreamlike imagery that we see in pieces like this. Okay, we also have one on our wall, by the way. You see the self-portrait with the monkey? All right, any other comments, questions?
So like, how is like Damien Donnelly's like perspective of art like impacting yourself? Like, cause like you also like really good dancer. How is that like connect to yourself?
oh, that's probably connected to more movement. How like movement makes art. I don't really know how to feel about that part. It's quite, I don't know, I couldn't really, so there was another point in the article about how movement in art was also important, but I felt like at the very end of the document it kind of got washed out and not as emphasized as the other two. Like there was not one point in the article where I was like, oh this, and so I didn't really think much about that. Sorry.
So as a dancer, obviously your body is the medium, and so in the article, fashion and fabric would be the medium, and Frida's obviously is being. So you can answer that question in that way, thinking about the medium, how movement translates across different artistic media. Okay, thank you very much, Maisie. Let's start.